to the Flame and Fiber podcast. My name is Barbara. You can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as Diva S. As Sheva says, it's been a minute. I think it's about a month, so sorry. But I've been vlogging. I've been doing my... Oops. I'm still sticky uppy. I'm supposed to be, but I don't know. I've been doing my Corona vlog now for... Today was episode 203. So we're still in the middle of it. But I hope you're all well. Today is October 10th. Sorry, I'm trying not to cough. It didn't work. And Hurricane Delta is bearing down on the Gulf Coast. I hope everyone is safe and we survive our hurricane season. It's been a crazy year, so we shall see. I am wearing my sea salt. I haven't worn this because the shoulders are too wide to TMI when I wear a bra, but I'm not wearing one, so I could wear it today. It's Yoshi and Lucy yarn, and I can't remember the name of the colorway. It's a DK, and it's the sea salt, and I will put down here who the designer of the sea salt is, because of course I don't remember that either, because you know, podcasting is not something I do very often. Anyway, so like I said, it's been about a month since I did my last podcast, and in that month we have started our fourth quarter of 2020, and boy, I cannot wait for 2020 to be over. Let me tell you, I am mailing in my ballot this week. I'm filling it out this weekend, and I'm mailing it on Monday. And then I don't want to hear anything else about the election, and I'm not sure how I'll manage that. Because if I've voted already, I'm done. That's it. I don't want to hear anymore. But I'm going to be very glad when 2020 is over. I am not going to miss it in the least, and I don't think I'm alone in that regard. But going into the fourth quarter means that we are done with the third quarter, and I drew prizes for the third quarter winners for the Craft From Your Stash Make-Along. The wonderful Leslie from the Not Quite Enough Yarn podcast and I have been doing a year-long Craft From Your Stash Make-Along. And this is our second year. We did it last year too. We both have quite extensive stashes, and so last year we didn't buy any yarn at all. I didn't buy any yarn until for about 18 months. So it was about from October of 2018 to March of 2020, I didn't buy any yarn. But with the lockdown, and I only said I wasn't going to buy yarn for a year. I was on a yarn diet for a year. So, but, you know, I don't need yarn. I have so many sweater quantities of yarn, but I've been buying yarn, and this yarn is one of the yarns I bought, and I've bought several sweaters from the Crafty Toad, which you will see, but I'm still also crafting from my stash. But anyway, so we're doing a Craft From Your Stash Make-Along. Stash Mal 2020 is the hashtag. And Leslie and I are both drawing prizes from the Ravelry groups. In my Ravelry group, the Flame and Fiber Podcast Ravelry group, and in the Not Quite Enough Yarn Ravelry group, each has a FO thread. This isn't that hard. FO thread and a chatter thread, and we are pulling quarterly prizes from each of those threads. Now, Leslie announced her prize winners on her last podcast, which was at the very end of September. And then at the end of the year, we'll pull a year-long prize. Now, in previous quarters, I had been just pulling from the whole thread up to that quarter. And I have had a couple of times where the yarn prize winner hasn't contacted me. And that's probably because it was from an earlier oh, sweetie, thank you. You got on my podcast.
Yeah, well.
He just brought me a cappuccino. He's the best. He's the best. He's the best. I was drinking water. He is the best. I mean, literally the best. I have not been contacted by the yarn winners regularly. So I changed how I did the drawing this quarter, and I only drew from posts that were posted during the third quarter, which is different than what I had done previously. And it only so that's not what I did after the second quarter. Because the first quarter was just, so I did it a little differently, and that's how I did it, period. Because I think, there are people who are no longer watching my podcast, or people at the beginning of the year who thought, I'll watch both podcasts, and then they've dropped off not watching my podcast, or whatever, because they're not hearing their names and they're not contacting me. So, I drew from all the finished objects from July 1st until today. So there's a little overlap. And that was post 491 to 648. And they pulled, the random number generator gave me number 640, which is Verena. Breve 66, B-R-E-V-E 66, and I'll put it here. That's Verena from Vine, Austria. Hey, Verena! You won the yarn! I haven't figured out what the yarn is, so when you contact me, and you can email me at flameandfiber@mindspring.com or message me on Ravelry, let me know what your favorite color is, because it doesn't say that on your profile in Ravelry. So I'll pick you something nice, and I'll send it to Austria. Yay! So Verena, contact me, email me, or message me on Ravelry, and I'll send you some yarn. And the chatter thread doesn't have nearly as much going on as the finished objects thread. And so there was, chatter was from 284 to 329. So that's not very many. That's less than 50. 29 plus 16. Yeah. So, yeah, if you're chattering, chattered in this quarter, you have a very good chance. And the first one I pulled was me. So I'm chattering in that thread too. So I pulled 303, which was me. So I pulled again, and I pulled 286, which is Paula again. Rick Rack. I think you won didn't you win the, Rick Rack won Paula, you won a pattern before, so I hope you have another pattern that you want, because you won again. And I'm like, but that's who the random number generator picked, and that's who's getting the prize. That's what I say. You chatter, and you get a prize. So Paula, Rick Rack, let me know. I hope let me know what pattern you want. Up to $10 US, and I'll send it to you from Ravelry. So there you go. The chatter thread gives you good odds, let me tell you. There were a lot more finished objects. So Verena and Paula, contact me, and congratulations. And thank you everyone who's participating. It's so much fun to see these things. And, you know, my favorites list is getting longer and longer. Because, you know, I see gorgeous things and I'm like, oh, that looks good. Oh, that looks good. I do have a knitting finished object. I finished the Boxy for my niece Ella. I have been using Boxys as I knit my nieces. I have two nieces. They're beautiful women, wonderful, wonderful, lovely women. I don't know how that happened with my brother as their father, but he did it. He and his wife did a great job on these girls. Of course, the girls are responsible for themselves. And Janine just graduated from college, and Ella's a sophomore. And, you know, I knitted them hats one year for Christmas. But other than that, I haven't really knitted anything for them. I give them Christmas presents and I, you know, text them on their birthday. So it's not like, you know, I would typically do that. But, you know, time of Corona, you need comfort crafting. And I don't seem to be in a sock knitting mood these days where, you know, a plain sock is just what you need to just sit down and knit and you don't want to think about it. Oh, Dennis is the best. I made this cup. This is my favorite cup I ever made. I did a ceramics class. I've done ceramics. I did ceramics off and on for quite a few years. And I made this. I made this in 1988. The initials under this are BAD, which were my initials when I was married. And I didn't take back my maiden name, my birth name, until Dennis and I were, you know, getting ready to get married, and I decided I'm not changing my name again. So I did not take Dennis's name. But anyway, this is my favorite mug I made, and I've had it for years, 1988. Haven't broken it yet. Knock on wood. So he made me my cappuccino and my mug. This is my cappuccino mug. So I'm kind of off sock knitting, which is the comfort knitting. So I ended up making myself 2 Boxys right in a row a while back, which you've seen. And I realized that I wanted some comfort knitting. And so I decided to make my niece's Boxys for Christmas. And this is Ella's Boxy. This is where I was the last time I podcast, I think. I think that's what that signifies. So this is made from Toad Hollow yarn from the Crafty Toads, and this color is Mr. Carrisford. I asked them what their favorite color, not black, was to wear, and Ella said green, moss green. I think this qualifies. I hope she'll like it. And it was just, you know, something that I could just knit and knit and knit and knit and feel good. So here's my finished Boxy. It is finished. I have woven in the ends and I have blocked it. And it is ready to go. I think I'm probably going to have to mail them, though, for this Christmas. I don't know if we're going to be able to get together at Christmas. Yeah, which is a drag, man. I hope I'm wrong, because I haven't seen Christy since last Christmas. So it'll be a while. I haven't seen the granddaughters since Thanksgiving. Ugh. So anyway, I immediately, after I cast off Ella's Boxy, I immediately and literally immediately just took the needles, wound the yarn that I had ready for Janine's Boxy. So this is Janine's Boxy. Janine is the older one, and she said green or purple. And since Ella only gave me green, I decided I am not making 2 green sweaters for them in a row because I have another green sweater I'm making. So and this is a gorgeous color. This is also Toad Hollow NJ yarn. This is Ram Dass. And I am loving it. Both of these sweaters are made in MCN. Apparently there's a supply problem with just sock yarn being available. So I had to get MCN. Isn't that terrible? Poor me. I have to knit with MCN. I'm sure you're really, really feeling bad for me. Really bad for me. And I was looking for a label, and I'm not finding it. Oh, here we go. This is actually from Ella's. This is the Toad Hollow Squishy Toad 80-10-10 Superwash Merino Cashmere Nylon from the Little Princess collection. This is Ella's, which is Mr. Carrisford, but Janine's is from the same collection, and it's Ram Dass. But I immediately, and obviously I wanted some just knitting, because this is where I am. And I'm going to put a progress keeper on this. Well, I guess I can take it off of Ella's because I won't be showing her that. And I will put a progress keeper on this, and so I will remember where I was when I showed it to you last. And that'll be good. So this is my just sitting around, don't want to think about it, don't have to look, knitting in the dark. Knitting with my eyes closed. I caught myself knitting with my eyes closed the other day. Just like I don't even want to see. I was listening to a podcast and I was knitting with my eyes closed on my Boxy. So that's my first whip. My second whip, my second knitting whip, is my Silberling. And this was a pattern given to me by the lovely Linda. Thank you, my dear. And it is the Silberling and it's by, I wrote this down because I couldn't see, Katrine Schubert. And I am knitting this out of Outlaw Bohemian Sport, which I got many, many years ago. This is definitely stash yarn. Originally I got this from Yarn Box. And this is 45% Polworth, 45% alpaca, and 10% possum. And if you're a longtime viewer of my podcast, I will have talked about this yarn with you because I made Dennis's sweater out of this yarn. And this is the color Leather, which I'm knitting with now, and this is the color Earl. And I knit this many, many years ago. Well, within the last 4 years, because I knit it while I was doing the podcast. But he loves it. He's not a big sweater wearer, so he only needs one sweater, but he does wear it and he loves it. And he's very knit-worthy, except that he gets sweaty and so he doesn't need a lot, which is fine. I'm fine with that. So anyway, this is the yarn that I'm using. And the possum is an invasive species in New Zealand. This is a New Zealand yarn, if I didn't mention that. Possums in New Zealand are an invasive species. Apparently, quite a lot of birds in New Zealand are ground nesting birds because they don't have predators like, I guess they don't have rodents. I mean, we have a ton of animals that would eat ground. I mean, I don't think there are very many ground nesting birds in the United States. And if they are, they're like nesting on rocky islands that don't have any predators there. But anyway, lots of the birds, or most of the birds, or all of the birds, I'm not sure, in New Zealand are ground nesting. And the possums were introduced, and I think they were introduced because their fur is so lovely, you know, as part of a textile thing, but I could be wrong about that, but I think that's the case. And anyway, they've gotten away, and they're an invasive species, and they're endangering the native birds of New Zealand. So as part of the possum eradication project, they are encouraging fiber companies to, you know, because they kill the possums, use their fur to make fiber and save the birds all at the same time. That's the story of the yarn. The color I am using is the leather because I have lots of that. So I got leather in my yarn box, and I bought another yarn box with the leather, and I bought another yarn box with the color Earl. And I used the Earl on Dennis's, the leather and the Earl. And I think I have enough leather to do the Silberling, but if I don't, I have a little bit of Earl, and I could be doing a little bit of a Leslie and do a stripe of Earl at the bottom. Now I was moving right along. I have to get a bigger cord, so I put this on waste yarn so I could try it on, and I'll show you why. And also so I could show it to you better because it was all scrunched up. So this is it. It's going to be beautiful. But I don't know if you can see the problem. Right there, the third row of holes. Last Sunday, and it's Saturday today, so last Sunday, I was knitting on this while I was talking to my daughter. And we do a regularly scheduled craft together meeting on Zoom. And I was just at the place, these are where the increases happen. I was just at the place to do the holes, and I was talking and listening and whatever, and I screwed it up. And I was knitting for a while, and then I said, I got to fix it, and blah, 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 blah. So I went back, and I tore it all the way back, and I fixed it, and I went forward. Well, it wasn't until I got to here, which is 1, 2, 3 more sets, and I'm almost ready to split for the sleeves, that I realized that I had messed up those holes. I think, I'm trying to figure out what I did. I think I didn't go back. I was 1 row short of when I went back. I was 1 row short. I should have gone back 1 more row. So as soon as I realized I did that, because it's the whole row, which is why I think it had to do with me tearing it back, because I don't think I would have made that same mistake on every hole, only on that row, if it was an individual mistake at that hole. So I think I was on the wrong row, essentially. So I immediately stopped knitting on it because I have to figure out what to do with that row before I go any further. So I tried this on earlier. My new hair, it's so easy. Tried it on earlier. Move my camera down a little bit. Put my glasses back on so I can see what you're seeing. So I thought I would try it on and see, am I going to need to fix this? And I think it's pretty obvious that the answer is yes. I'm going to need to fix this. So the holes are pretty tight. So I just need to figure out how to tighten up that hole. Like get rid of this secondary hole right here. This is the real hole, and tighten that up, and so it doesn't show. But you can see, I mean, it's front and center. It's right there. And I think it's going to bug me. And it's a beautiful sweater with beautiful yarn. And my first time having it on. So it's going to come up high. Yeah, comes pretty high. But I think I have to do something with those holes. I do. I'm not going to be happy with it. So either I'm going to take out however many inches that is, 6, or, well, but first I'm going to try to fix the holes, because that's, if I can fix the holes so that I'm happy with it, that's what I'm going to do, because I do not want to rip back all that knitting. I'll be honest with you. I think you can understand that. That alpaca and possum gets fibers up my nose. So that's my other whip that I'm working on. And this pattern is actually pretty intuitive and easy to do. And, you know, like I said, I made this mistake here last Sunday. And I haven't knit on it for at least 2 days, maybe 3 days. Because I realized I had the holes at least 2 days, because I haven't been home. And I've been working on my Boxy. So that's kind of a drag. I hate when I get to that place, and you know, but if I think about it a lot, then I know I have to fix it, because I'm not going to be happy. And they're right there. I mean, right there. And it's the whole row. It's not even like it's one hole and I can just put that hole in the back. Fiber. So I think I'm going to have to redo it. All right. So that's all my knitting that I've been working on, which is a fair amount of knitting, although it's been a month, but you know, it's a month in the time of Corona. And I've been doing some cross stitch in the meanwhile. So I think I talked about, trying to go back to my notes from last time. No. I'm not making very many notes for the most part. So I'm pretty sure I talked about some cross stitching that I had in my future when I talked to you last. But when I was thinking about the podcast last night, I was like, I'm going to podcast tomorrow. What do I have? And I realized I had not done any work on my giraffe that I am doing for Sammy's Christmas present. Now, isn't that cute? And since I haven't worked on it in a month, the chances of me actually finishing this by Christmas are pretty small. And, you know, the idea was that I would also make a unicorn for Isabel. So, which if I have to do 2 things, lowers the odds a lot. And I'm not going to put too much pressure on myself to do that. But it did remind me I hadn't worked on my giraffe. So I did. So here's my giraffe. So I've done the whole neck, and now I'm working on the face. The giraffe face. So here's his nose. And now we're going up here. These 2 white spots are going to be black, and there are his nostrils. Oh. I have a fiber in my mouth. I wonder if that's going to be a problem when I try to wear that sweater. So here's where I am. I'm working on around here. And those 2 black nostrils, which are now white because I haven't done the black yet around there. But that's what I'm doing. And then the eye will come out here, and then the ear will go out there. So my count for this is so off. I'm winging it. But as you can see, you can't tell my count's off, can you? No. Nobody's going to know my count's off. Nope. Which makes it a little bit of relaxing cross stitch, because it's all going to work out in the end. And it's such fun colors, and I have it all kitted out. So, although last night I ran out of the giraffe orange and I had to come up and get more. But I have more, but I did that. So the other cross stitching that I've been doing my Sunday Zoom meeting with my daughter, and she is an embroiderer, so she does freehand embroidery, so she's always sitting there doing this great embroidery stuff. And she was embroidering a map, or approximate project was a map. She was doing Middle Earth, Tolkien's Middle Earth, in a map, and got me thinking about maps and what a great cross-stitch project map would be. And so I went out and Googled, you know, whatever, what you do, as you do on the internet, and I found a map kit. And it was a kit. And so I bought it. And I started working on it. So this is the kit, Janlin Needlecraft. This is the map. And so it is 18 inches by 15 inches, and everything was included except for a needle threader, which I have. And I have started it. I was going to show you the thing, but here are the threads. They're not as messed up as it seems like they are. And they gave me all the threads, the floss, and the floss is not terrible. This kit cost $25. Did I say that? So all this and the map and the Ada and the needle, it was all $25, which I thought was very reasonable, quite frankly. So I think last time, I might have shown you this map last time, and I had done the left side of this pattern, but I went back and started over and started on the right side, because the way I cross stitch, the way I do my crosses, it's easier, it's better for me to go from right to left than left to right, because if I go left to right, I'm ending my stitch in the exact same hole that I need to start my next stitch, and you can't do that because it takes the thread out. Although now that I say that out loud, there's probably some kind of technique that you can do so that doesn't happen, but doesn't matter. I just turned around and I started at the other end. But first thing I did was I gridded my Ada with a Frixion pen, so that, I mean, this is a complicated, it's got a lot going on. So this is what I'm working on now. I started over here. And it's got a lot going on, and it would be really easy to get off. And it feels like if you get off too much, then it might show. So I gridded it up, and I just took my Frixion pen, and this is 14 count Ada. And so I did 10 rows and 10 columns is what the grid is, and that matches the gridding on the pattern, on the chart. Here's the chart. And that has helped me immensely. So there you go. So this is my map of the world, and we have, I'm not even sure who this is supposed to be. I don't know, is that a deer and a horse? This looks like a Mayan. This looks like an Egyptian. Got the pyramids, and that is probably, I don't know, Greek or Middle Eastern. There's a camel. Anyway, a lot going on. A sailing ship. There aren't any sea monsters on here, but there is a turtle and a fish and a little tiny whale. So this is one of my projects, one of my whips, my one of my cross stitch whips that I'm enjoying working on. But I bought this. I had ordered a Dragons of Sumatra. And because I, just order things and I don't pay attention like I'm supposed to and whatever, I was waiting and waiting and waiting, and it didn't come and it didn't come and it didn't come. And then I found out I could have ordered it in a PDF and not have it sent to me by a paper, which I would have preferred. But I didn't even notice that option. So it took 2.5 weeks or so for it to come. But here is my Dragons of Sumatra that I am making. And I don't know if this had arrived by the time I had podcast earlier. I don't think so. Isn't that fun? So my idea was that this would be somewhat relaxing because it's all one color. And so I ordered the color that it is, let me see if I can find a tag. I ordered the color that it was done in, and it's a Gloriana hand-dyed silk in the color poinsettia. And I ordered this from a tiny little embroidery shop in California. And after I ordered it, I'm like, oh, I don't know about this, because they sort of had this standard automatic response that, things may be out of stock and it might take weeks and weeks, and, So I was about ready to, I waited after about a week and I hadn't heard anything, and I thought, I wonder if they even have the color I want. And then lo and behold, it showed up in my mail. So I have wound it around the little llamas that Sarah gave me, which I needed to do because I want to make this into a pillow when I'm done with it. So it needs to be washable. And this contrast between the red and the back, I thought. So I assumed that it was acid dye, and I treated it as if it were acid dyed. And so I said it was citric acid on all of the skeins. And the water turned really, really red. So I'm hoping that I have solved that problem, so when it turns into a pillow, I will be able to wash it. So the drama begins. So I finally get my pattern and I see how much I need, and I decide I'm doing this, I want to do it on linen. So I order this linen from 123 Stitch, I think. And it's really beautiful. I think the color is earthen, and it's mottled and it's gorgeous, and I thought, oh, I want a linen pillow, so that'll be great. And the very first cross stitch that I did was a Santa cross stitch, and I did it on linen. I had no idea what I was doing, but I did it on linen, and that's the only thing I've done on linen. Afterwards, I thought linen isn't the best place to start. So if you're new to cross stitching, I don't recommend that you start with linen. But I thought, I've been cross stitching for a couple years now, and let me try linen again, because having a linen pillow would be so lovely. So I started my dragons, and because I wasn't sure how big this was or how it was going to go, I started in the middle of the picture. And the first thing I did, well, this is what I have in the linen right now. But the first time I did it, I already had to tear it out. I had done it the wrong way. I should have held it like this. So I tore out what I did, which was more than this. And then I started over. And I realized as I was doing it that I wasn't enjoying it at all. I mean, like hating it. That's how much I was not enjoying it. And I thought, this is a big piece, and I love the piece, and I want to enjoy it, and here I am. And for some reason, snobby reason, I had it in my mind, oh, I want linen for my pillow. I don't want Aida, you know. So I had already waited a week and a half or 2 weeks. Now, you know, so we're now in over a month, you know, and I'm a pretty, I want to start right now kind of girl. So now I've started on my linen, and I'm not in love with my linen. And I didn't enjoy doing it. So I'm like, okay, you know what? I need to enjoy doing that. The whole point is I thought it was going to be relaxing because I wouldn't have to pick new colors or anything like that. So I go to Joann's and I go to Michael's. Michael's very picked over. But in the end, I ended up with, and this is 32 count linen. 36 count linen. So I needed 18 count Aida or 36 count even weave. So I bought even weave, and I thought even weave might work out. So I bought even weave, and it was kind of a beigey color, and I did a tea dye on the even weave, which turned out really nice. And the Aida I bought was white, and I thought, well, let me try a coffee dye on the Aida and see what I like. Well, it turns out, after I did this to the even weave, I realized even weave is lovely, but in the end, I'm probably, oh, excuse me, probably not going to be tons happier doing the even weave than I was doing the linen, because you still have to figure out, okay, I'm 2 threads here and 2 threads here. Even though I got it looking really nice with my tea dye. Well, so I decided to try on the Aida and try to dye a coffee dye. But the coffee is so dark, and so I put it on, you know, and then I kind of I microwaved it to heat it up. I don't know if that does any, you know, natural dye, I don't know. Maybe it doesn't do anything. I don't know. But the coffee was so dark, I thought, oh my gosh, you know, this is too much. So I cleaned it up and I put it through the washer. And then I could hardly tell that I did anything. And it certainly wasn't a beautiful mottled color like my tea was. So I did it again, but I panicked again. So I am doing my Dragons of Sumatra on coffee dyed Aida. And it is actually a little bit mottled, but you can't really tell. It certainly doesn't show up on the camera very well, and it barely shows up in person. But there's where I am with my dragons. And again, I started in the middle, but I didn't have to, because first I gridded my fabric. And that took me about 2 hours to grid it. Well, you can see I started on the other side, and, you know. And I used Friction pen so that when I iron it, that'll go away. I'm hoping. I'm assuming. Well, I know it goes away because I've ironed the edges. Because my lines went way over, and so I ironed the edges. So this grid exactly corresponds to what's in the pattern. But I did it all by hand. I used a ruler when I gridded the map. But that's a bigger Aida. That's a 14 count. This is an 18 count. And I found, I started using, on the back, I started using the ruler, and I found I kept getting off. And so I decided to do it freehand, and I did. I did it freehand, which is basically I just take the pen and I go click, 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 click in the holes and just make sure. And I counted. I made sure I count, because this is 10 by 10 also. But the squares are much smaller because it's a smaller, bigger, you know, count Aida. And every 3 or 4 boxes I checked, I would do my counts again, which is why this thing took me about 2 hours to grid. But, oh, what a life changer Gridding is a life changer for me. I am going to grid everything from now on. Let me tell you, even the tiny little things, I think I'm going to grid them, because one part of my frustration is I'm not that great of a counter cross stitch. That could be a problem. So anyway, this is the middle part. This is here, right here. And there you are. This is page 5. So I'm working on this creature here. So I'm going to come down like this. That's page 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 pages. Anyway, so this has turned out to be fun, semi-relaxing. Gotta still count. But with the gridding, has really changed things for me to the point where I will be gridding everything. But that means I got to be doing it on Aida. I don't know how you grid. Maybe you can. I know you can buy some fabrics pre-gridded, and I wonder if you can buy pre-gridded even weave. Obviously, you can't. I would be shocked if you could buy pre-gridded linen. I don't think you could even grid linen, because the fibers are not necessarily even. But anyway, here's my dragon. So that's my cross stitching. I did end up putting my, well, that was a shit idea, up on my wall, and I said, oh, this is a finished, I can bring it. And then I realized that, because this is plastic, I didn't actually get a chance to staple it in, so it came out again, and I'm like, this is almost exactly like I showed you before. But I took it, I took it off the wall, and I'm going to be taking it back down and putting it back on the wall. I'll put a picture here of it on the wall. By the monkey. We have a monkey. So that's the crafting I've been working on. The other thing I did was I built myself some earring holders. One of the things I'm doing on my vlog, I have for many, many, many years collected earrings. I stopped getting earrings after I started lampworking because I was making earrings. So I have quite a few earrings that I made, and I used, and when you have a hobby or a collection like earrings, and if there's a gift-giving occasion, it's really easy for people to buy you something that you'll love. And so I have a lot of earrings that were gifts. And Christy was a little frustrated when I started making jewelry because she felt like she had to stop giving me jewelry, which was too bad. But I was only wearing my jewelry that I made at that time because I was selling it at work. And so anytime I was wearing jewelry, it was like an advertisement. So she wasn't wrong. I wouldn't probably have worn her jewelry that she gave me very often. But now that I'm not making jewelry anymore, and I'm certainly not trying to sell jewelry, I'm back to buying earrings and wearing earrings that I've had a long time. I wore earrings that my father gave me 45 years ago. So I'm going through all my earrings and wearing them and realizing I have a lot of earrings, and I needed a way, to organize my earrings so that I could see what I had. And, so I put a picture here. I made some earring holders for my bedroom, and that was a craft project that I have been doing the last few weeks. And you can see that I haven't filled it out yet. So I'm still in the process of, every time I wear a new pair of earrings, I put them on there. When I take them off, I put them on my new holder, and, put a few more pairs on the holder. And see, I think I have a plastic earring holder that I can put the post earrings in. I'm not sure this will hold the post earrings very well, but we shall see. But meanwhile, I like it on my wall, and it is fun to see all my earrings. I do love my earrings, I will say that. So I have picked out my next knitting project. I have a feeling my next knitting project is going to be the Silberling, because I'm going to have to tear it out and practically start over. Not really starting over. I got my new Vogue magazine the other day. I really like this sweater, the cover sweater, which I might make. In fact, I have a marled yarn, that exact color. That, hold on, I'll get up. It's a little lighter. It's a little blown out, a little lighter than this. This was a Yarn Box Luxe. I used to get the Luxe box back in the day. This is cashmere. And I bought several of these from D-Stash because it's in the color Barn Owl, which I think a lot of people didn't love. So I don't know if I have enough of these to make this. I haven't done the research on this piece because this is oversized, but it's really sleeveless. It's just a square. But I did something about it I like. But that is not my proximate knitting. I do have to check on how much of this I have, but it's cashmere. Wouldn't that be yummy? In cashmere? It's pretty close. But it would look, have that same look. But that's not my next project. My next project is not coming up in the magazine quite as quickly as you might want if you were a podcaster, is this sweater. This sweater is called Higher Education, and the designer is Amy Gunderson. Now, it looks quite sophisticated in this color scheme. It is reverse stockinette, and it is actually, oh, I got fuzz. Oh, now I have cashmere fuzz. This is actually also just a square. Nobody's doing anything fancy. So here's the details of this. Now this is in pieces, but when I was talking about it on the vlog the other day, it occurred to me, I can knit this, the body all in one piece. It is completely a square with neckline stuff. I have to do some calculations and, pay attention. But, so I'm going to do the body because I'm going to do it in stripes. But I'm going to do the bigger stripes in a new color that the Crafty Toads just brought out from their fairy tale collection, which is the Gingerbread House or Gingerbread Cottage. I'm not sure. The Hansel and Gretel is their fairy tale. Both of the yarns are really nice, but the Gingerbread House just struck me. So I'm doing that in the big stripes and the smaller stripes. I'm only doing one color of smaller stripes, and that's going to be in their Elderberry Fairy, which is kind of a raspberry color. Anyway, so my sweater is not going to look so sophisticated like this one does, but I don't know. It just really struck me. It's a box, just a box with drop shoulder sleeves. Very simple design with a V-neck. And then it has, I like the detailing on the band. And anyway, so this is reverse stockinette, so I won't be purling it, although I could. I don't mind purling, but anyway, so this has a few sweaters that I like in it, and I am going to be, so I ordered that Toad Hollow yarn, and there you go. That's my proximate knitting project. So that's kind of it for the crafting. My proximate stitching project will be a unicorn in a similar colorful vein as the giraffe. But I obviously don't need any more stitching projects. And I had misplaced my sock tubes that Simona cranked for me, but I found them again. So I will be putting heels and toes on those and cuffs in the near future to add to my sock collection. But basically, that's what's going on in my crafting world. I've been having issues with my knee in the last few months, and I'm doing physical therapy. And it turns out when you're on Medicare, which I am, you can have 12 weeks of physical therapy. So I am booked with my physical therapist, Katie, who is a lovely, lovely young woman, and I think of her as my personal trainer. That's what PT stands for. It doesn't stand for physical therapy. It stands for personal trainer, except for the problem of she's only working on my legs and my back. Well, my legs, because it's about my knee. So I'm not getting any work out of my upper body. And of course, I'm not doing anything at home. But anyway, so it's not exactly personal training, but it's kind of like, so I'm feeling better. My knee is feeling better. And I'm looking forward to a winter without too much. You know, I've been wondering if I kind of did something to it when I was skiing, because I did hurt my knees a little bit when I was skiing. I had a bad fall. And, I mean, that was in February, and it didn't start hurting till July. That's my guess. June or July. So, who knows? We thought it might be a torn meniscus, but according to Katie, she doesn't think so. She thinks it's just arthritis, kind of a big arthritis flare-up or something, and some swelling. So, okay, it's good it's not a torn meniscus, because I'm going to have the arthritis regardless. But right now, the most pain I get on my knees is from my Baker cysts. So, there you go. There's my health update. But it's, you know, I feel like it's doing better. I'm working on it. And the other thing is I'm spending more time lately at my in-laws. My father-in-law, who is 103, is kind of on the decline and is a lot of work for my mother-in-law, who will be 90 on Valentine's Day. So just in the last week, for the next couple weeks, my sister-in-law Kim and I are going to alternate staying with them and staying, you know, so we can help her mother, Dennis's mother. And so we're doing that. So I've spent the last 2 nights over there, and I was home last night and tonight, and then I'll go back and spend 2 more nights. So Kim and I are alternating. Dennis's sister Vicky will be coming from California in a week and a half or so, and then she'll be staying for 3 weeks. So she'll be on mom duty, and then we will all get together and figure out what we can do, because he is declining, and she'll be needing more support. So we are working on that, but that has kept me the last couple of days, and that's why I was doing a lot of work on the Boxy, because, you know, I can just sit and knit and talk on the Boxy, and it's clear that I cannot do that on the Silberling. And, you know, I'm jumping up. You know, you can put the Boxy down at any second, jump up and help do this or do that or whatever. When she goes to, you know, I'm go get something, I was like, look, I'll get it for you. There are intimate things that I'm not doing for my father-in-law that he and she both want her to do, but there are but everything else I'm trying to do when I'm there. So Dennis is cooking, and I'm, you know, getting dinner organized and doing the dishes, and she had the carpets cleaned. I vacuumed, and, you know, doing whatever I can. Whatever she needs done, I'm doing it. And I'm sure Kim is as well while she's there, just to give her a break, because she needs a break. So that's kind of the big news. Other than that, Dennis is downstairs preparing to make macaron. He's decided he wants macaron. And I'm like, okay, I'm for it. He's going to make white chocolate ganache for the macaron. And he's making, of course, they're keto, because we do keto. And so I will be helping him with that this afternoon. And so we'll be bringing white chocolate ganache macaron to my mother-in-law's tomorrow night when we will bring dinner, and then I'll stay over, and she'll have macaron. She'll love that. She likes a nice dessert every day. I say that like I don't. I do too. We all do. And so my point is, we bring her dessert because she likes a nice dessert, and a little piece of something after lunch, and Dennis makes that stuff for her. So, and we're happy to do that. So we're making macaron. So I need to finish up here, and then doing some editing. So this is a Saturday. I'm recording this. I don't expect it to go up until Sunday. So I hope you have had a good weekend, and I hope all is well. And those people in the Gulf area with the hurricane coming and Corona. So I am wishing you all well and good health, and I hope you're doing fine, doing the best we can in the time of Corona. And I'm doing my daily vlog, and that has helped me. It's, obviously a routine now because I've done it for 200 days plus. But it's a routine that is helping me get through Corona time. So thank you to everyone who is following along and coming along with me for coffee on the deck with the dogs in the morning. And thank you so much for your support and your comments and your messages. I cannot tell you what it means to me to be part of such a lovely community, and thank you so much. I just cannot express how important it is to me and how much you all mean to me. I can't, there aren't words. There just aren't words. So I want to remind Verena and Paula, get in touch with me, and you will get your prizes. And so don't forget to post your FOs and comment in the chatter thread, because, well, the next one will be the big drawing, and I don't know what that will be. I had a sweater's quantity of yarn last year, so who knows? I may be digging out a sweater's quantity of yarn somewhere that I haven't knit or whatever. Just saying. I'm not making any promises, but just saying. So Verena, let me know what your favorite color is so I can find something in my stash that I think you will like and send it along to you. So thank you, everybody. I will talk to you tomorrow on my vlog, or who knows, 3 or 4 weeks, depending on how it goes. And I will see you later. So I hope you have lots and lots of time to do the crafting that brings you joy. And stay safe and stay sane.